Okay, let's chat a bit more about this now. Chris Nissen was in that clip and he's the Commissioner of the Western Cape Human Rights Commission. He joins us on the line now. Very good evening to you, Chris. Thanks indeed for your time. Well, just a bit earlier on today, you were at the police station in central Cape Town. Do you know what the situation is there now? I understand this is where some of the affected migrants were taken to.
Yeah, thank you so much and good evening to all the viewers and listeners. We were at the police station since after moving from Green Market Square, and in our discussions with the SABC leadership at the provincial commissioner and General Mangwe and the other commissioners, other leadership, have decided that everybody that's been arrested be released. Now, let me also say that when I arrived at the police station, the women and children were not in a police cell. They were in a reception area, but the men were in the police cell. And so we have successfully, with the leadership, agreed that people must be released. And obviously, we also had Mirinda from the United Nations Human Rights Committee on the Committee on Refugees to be present, and also allowed them to address both sections, the women and the men. And there were 14 children as well. There was one child without a mother, but he was taken care of. And I had one of the committee leaders called Liban. He eventually located the mother, and we united the child with the mother. So eventually, after some few hours of talking to and fro, we managed to get everybody out.
Okay, so all the affected migrants who were arrested have now been released, and that was in fact my next question. There had been scenes that we saw quite widespread on live television as well as on social media about children who are being separated from their mothers. You spoke about one child who's been reunited. Are all the children who were said to have been missing reunited with their mothers or their loved ones? I have been, and others as well, Kalesprini and Lawyers for Human Rights, Sonke Gender Justice, all of us, and priests and Molanas, all of us have been running around trying to find and establish facts. There were people saying people died, people didn't want to go to hospital. I established two people that went to hospital, one because of, I believe it was a asthma attack or one or other attack. I'm not so sure, so I cannot say for certain. But then, of course, there were people that say these children are missing. But when I left the police station and when I left Green Market Square now, nothing has come to my attention to say there are these and these people missing. So the 14 mothers, the 14 children, including the one child whose mother later on reunited with the child. So for now, I'm sure that maybe there will be other assessments being done, and we'll probably have to look at it tomorrow morning. But for now, I think the women and children are safe. They're no longer in custody. And also, I must thank Reverend Story of the Methodist Church, Central Methodist Church at Green Market Square, that took in the women and children. But of course, I'd like to get your take on the way that this was done. This was, of course, police who were brought in to enforce a Western Cape High Court order, according to my understanding. What is your take on the manner in which this removal was carried out?
Look, there were two law enforcement agencies present. The one was South African Police Services, and the other one was the Metro Police. Now, I must tell you that I arrived around about 12:30 on the scene after the stun grenades were shot at and the water jets were used. But I must say that after that, the police were very restrained, and I spoke to Colonel Prince, who informed me that there was minimal force being used. But however, we said that we want tomorrow to gather every bit of information of people, including footage. And I've spoken to some of my colleagues in the media who have said that they've got footage of how children were taken by law enforcement agencies,
Yeah.
and then also removed from mothers, and even one woman being dragged along. And I said, please let us have it, because I need to look at that and let us follow up, because there will be IPIT, and then, of course, the city that we need to, if it is found true that it is done, that we need to address that. But from our side, as the Human Rights Commission, as I said, this issue about gender-based violence,
Yeah.
and no law enforcement agency, no law enforcement under any given circumstances should be using excessive force.
So are you saying, Chris, that if it is found by the calls that you have made to some in the media as well to bring forward some of the visuals that we also saw on social media, as of course you have to track where the event itself had actually started, will you be lodging complaints with, amongst others, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate if it is found that any police officers had used excessive force in the manner in which they carried out the removal of the migrants from that particular area? Is that what you're saying?
If any member of SAPS is seen with visuals, whatever, whether it can be proved, we will have to take it to IPIT. And IPIT will investigate that, and we will monitor that. If there's any member of the law enforcement agency or any private security in the area that have found themselves in a position where, if it is shown by social media or any other visual, in any other evidence, we will definitely investigate it. We'll take it up and we'll take it to SAPS for further investigation.
Yeah, I know that you represent the Western Cape, but I'm sure some of your colleagues within the very same sector are also monitoring areas here in Pretoria as well, where you have similar scenes and a similar sit-in that's been taking place. They're already quite widespread with the coverage of one of my colleagues in Pretoria, Sipho Stierman. I mean, some of them have highlighted, where there are no ablution facilities. There's a nearby field that is being used by some of the migrants to relieve themselves. Are you looking at some of these issues and how possibly there could be a possibility that what took place in Cape Town could, in the most likelihood, take place in Pretoria, where you have a similar sit-in that's taking place?
Sure. Let me say that wherever it takes place, if there's any violation, or even if there any alleged complaint of violation or alleged violation, the South African Human Rights Commission has a constitutional responsibility to investigate that. And can I also say that we've got a Commissioner Makwetla, who is dealing specifically with the issue about immigration and migration and foreign nationals. And because the law in this country, because we live in a constitutional democracy, the law in this country protects everybody who's in this country. The right to dignity, the right to safety, that's all being protected by the Constitution. So from Johannesburg, because I'm based in Western Cape, but we're all national. Yeah. So tomorrow I will also touch base, as I did with my chairperson today. I gave him a briefing. So tomorrow we'll all talk and have a briefing about the matter and see how we can assist in facilitating some sustainable resolution to the issues. Because as you may know, that remember the demand by our people is that they need to go to another country. Now protocols and intergovernmental protocols dictate otherwise. But it will be very important for the Human Rights Commission in any way, form or shape to facilitate a program to solution on how we can resolve it. And that's what I committed the Commission today. But just remember as well that the Commission has set a number of more than one investigative hearings and national hearings around xenophobia. And we have 2008 and 2017, we had recommendations that we've put to government. And that's one of the issues tomorrow that we'll have to raise. What happened to the recommendations of the Human Rights Commission around xenophobia. Because one of the issues that people talk today consistently was, we don't feel safe. We don't feel safe, right? So the law and the enforcement agencies of this country must protect our people.
All right.
And all of us, whether you're foreign national or whether you're South African, you need to be protected. But so that is my issue. That's why I'm saying that is what we will have a debriefing tomorrow.
Yes.
But what is important, though, is that I also want people to understand it's not easy to say we want to go to Canada. We want to go this, because there are intergovernmental protocols that dictate relationships. As we cannot just put people onto a plane and take them to whatever the place is, because you must also remember that there are also a bit of mischief. Mischief, because today people told me they were told, come to Cape Town. There's a plane waiting for us. Even things people saying there's a helicopter waiting for us to go. So we must also deal with the mischief of leading the legitimate desires of people into a false paradise.
Yeah.
And also that we need to take care of.
Yeah. Chris, I'm sure we're going to continue having discussions with you in the next couple of hours into tomorrow as well. Thank you indeed for your time. We'll continue to watch the situation there in Cape Town. Our colleagues who've been on the ground, Vanessa Puna and many others as well. Chris Nissen, who is the Commissioner for Western Cape Human Rights Commission, monitoring the situation there. But the details he's giving us now is that all those who were affected, the migrants who were affected, were arrested. They've come to an agreement with police now to release them. All have been released, according to Chris Nissen, who's with the Human Rights Commission in the Western Cape.